This is an examination of the hidden human condition.
This is the Hidden Killers Podcast
with Tony Bruschi.
Lara Yeretsian, expert criminal defense attorney, is with us as we continue to break down everything that we've experienced the last couple of weeks in the Lori Daybell trial, and as we look towards the future. There is another trial that is upcoming for Lori Vallow beyond just her sentencing, and that would be in Maricopa County. They are, in an email to the Arizona Republic, the Maricopa County Attorney's Office said it has reviewed Daybell's charges, which of course stemmed from Charles Vallow's death in Chandler and the shooting of one of Vallow's relatives, Brandon Boudreaux, in Gilbert, and they intend to prosecute Lori Vallow after she's sentenced in Idaho. So there is likely going to be another murder trial around Lori Vallow. This time, though, in Arizona. Arizona, a little different. Do they have the insanity plea that could maybe work for her there?
You know, I'm not sure. I haven't looked into that. I would think that they do, but again, I would want to confirm it. If they do, maybe she'll have a shot.
Well, and even if she did, what's the point?
Not much at this point. Listen, even if you've got the insanity defense, we just watched the Stout case, right? The Letitia Stout case. Yeah. She had the insanity defense, and her lawyers did, a tremendous job, right, defending her. And in that case, they did really try to defend her, and they went all out. And despite all of that, and you could tell she was kind of crazy. Yeah, she had issues, right? But it didn't help. She was still convicted. So there's no guarantee just because the insanity defense is there. When people look at how heinous the crime is, it's a tough defense. The insanity defense is a tough one. So there's no guarantee, even if that's available, if she's going to ever have a jury convinced that she was insane when this all happened.
With something like this, where the sentencing is going to be coming down in several months from now, likely, life in prison, no parole. I think that's fairly easy to guess. Will a trial take place here for the murder of Charles Vallow? Will that even happen, or will they look at this and go, she's already in jail for the rest of her life? We don't want to waste our resources and time on prosecuting her at this point.
I see. Will the prosecution move forward?
Yeah,
I would think they would.
Yeah.
Of course, they've got a victim. I mean, they've got a deceased individual, her husband, and someone else also shot at. So it makes no sense for them to completely drop it. Will they have a deal, a plea bargain? I guess anything is possible, but having watched what happened here, I don't know how cooperative Lori Vallow is, and if she'll ever take a plea deal. But maybe she will. You never know. Yeah, I don't expect the prosecutors to drop the case.
But what does that even mean at this point? If she's already in prison for the rest of her life, please bargain. I mean, what is she bargaining for at this point, other than another state to say you're guilty? Other than just on paper.
Remember, she'll always have the appeal, the right to appeal.
Sure.
So it may be a light at the end of the tunnel, especially in light of everything that's been going on in her case. There are some issues. I mean, we've been talking about these issues, competency issues, right? That are going to come up. The fact that the defense wasn't put on in this case. But again, that may have been, even though they didn't put on defense, that may have been something within the rights of the attorneys. What was a strategy? That was the only strategy that was available to them, right? But those are issues, and she's got some issues on appeal. And no matter what, it doesn't matter. You would still want to fight any charge just in case something happens in this first trial, right? After an appeal.
There's a lot of pieces that could change. That's just the reality of it. So to put all the eggs in one basket and say, well, there's nothing that's going to change here, that does make sense, where you would want to try and argue as best you can in case, crazier things have happened. There's been plenty of people who, we know are guilty of sin that have somehow gotten out or gotten out of their charges because of some technicality or some other thing that was found later on. Let me ask you this. How, now that we have this guilty verdict in Lori's trial, how is that going to impact the trial of Chad Daybell that will be coming up either later in the year or early next year?
I can see the dark clouds getting closer for Chad Daybell. That's not a good omen for him. I can tell you that. Remember, Lori seemed like the one that could play the role of I'm the victim.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the one. He's the one. He's the one who manipulated me.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been a story that her lawyers could have told. And initially, we were thinking that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's the one in charge, not the brains of the operation here. Of course, the prosecution presented evidence that she may have been the manipulative one, and these things were all happening in her life, and these are people who were close to her, except for obviously Chad Daybell's wife, but it's her kids and her husband, her former husband, and this and that, right? So, but Chad is. It looks like he's involved, and if she went down, he's going to go down. Unfortunately for him, but that's the way I see it. It's not going to be an easy one for him. It's going to be an uphill battle unless his argument and if his lawyers can back it up, is going to be that Lori was out of control. Lori is insane. Lori believed in all these things, and Lori did all of these things with Alex or did it alone. And he's either an accessory after the fact,
Mm-hmm.
basically just helped her cover it up, or didn't even know that they buried the bodies on his property. And so that part may be a tough sell.
Yeah, I think it would be very much a tough sell.
But he could always argue that she did it with her crazy brother. You know what I'm saying? Like they're both insane. They did it. They're out of control. Yes, he was his religion did believe in the zombie thing, but he didn't advocate killing these people, her children. He was never part of that. He loved her, but he would never be part of that. And she did it. Maybe he helped cover up at the end. And then the prosecution would have to show that he helped cover up the crimes.
This is an examination of the hidden human condition.
This is the Hidden Killers Podcast.
The Hidden Killers Podcast.
With Tony Bruschi.
Lara Yeretsian, thank you so much for your insight. Always very much appreciated. If you like the podcast and want an ad-free experience, you can get it through Apple Podcasts. Check that out right now. Even try it for 3 days free. My name is Tony Bruschi. Stay with us.